could always use a man like you, Nathan. An educated war veteran and a murderer.
I will find the answers myself.
Do you believe in God, John? Ever tried to look for him? I look for him in the unlight.
We know where you live.
Good sense. Love, pain, death.
Hi guys, welcome back to Finesse. Thrillers aren't only about action, they're about tension, control, and stories that get under your skin. From psychological mind games to crime-driven chaos, some films keep you hooked without raising their voice. In this video, we're counting down the top 10 best thriller movies streaming on Amazon Prime Video, Starz, and more. Each pick explores a different shade of the genre: slow burn suspense, dark investigations, and twisted character clashes. If you're ready for thrillers that stay with you long after the screen goes dark, let's start the countdown. Number 10. Imperium. Nate Foster is a quiet, by-the-book FBI analyst pulled from his desk and pushed into the field. His assignment is simple on paper but dangerous in reality. Go undercover inside a growing network of white supremacists suspected of planning something far worse than loud talk. To survive, he must shed his identity and adopt a new one that slowly starts to consume him. As Nate sinks deeper into this hostile world, everyday interactions become a test of control. Casual conversations carry menace, loyalty is constantly questioned, and one wrong reaction could expose him. Guided from afar by his handler, Nate walks a narrow line between observation and involvement. Each step forward demands compromise, forcing him to listen, agree, and blend in without losing himself completely. The longer he stays, the harder it becomes to tell where the role ends and the person begins. Pressure builds as the group's plans move closer to action. Trust is thin, suspicion is everywhere, and silence becomes as risky as speaking out. Nate must make choices with limited information, knowing hesitation could cost lives, including his own. Imperium is a grounded crime thriller that trades spectacle for tension, pulling you into an unsettling environment where ideology is weaponized and identity is constantly under threat. Number 9. The Two Faces of January. After crossing paths in sunlit Athens, a polished American couple and a sharp-tongued tour guide are drawn together by charm, curiosity, and quiet envy. Their meeting feels harmless, even playful, yet something uneasy lingers beneath the smiles and casual conversations. The mood shifts when a sudden crisis forces choices that can't be undone. Loyalties bend, stories change, and trust becomes a currency no one can afford to lose. Each character hides a private agenda, carefully shaped to protect reputation and control. As they move through ancient streets and foreign cities, the tension tightens. The guide senses an opening for power, the husband clings to dominance, and the wife watches both men with growing caution. Every glance carries meaning, every silence suggests danger. The chase that follows isn't loud or explosive, but quietly suffocating. Guilt, pride, and rivalry push the trio toward decisions that expose who they truly are, when comfort disappears and escape feels uncertain. The Two Faces of January is a sleek psychological thriller where appearances deceive, alliances shift without warning, and survival depends on knowing when to trust and when to walk away. Number 8. Officer Down. Detective David Callahan barely survives a vicious shooting, only to return to duty in a city that feels more ruthless than before. His recovery is short-lived, as the streets pull him back into a world ruled by violence, greed, and uneasy alliances. Nothing feels stable, and danger waits at every turn. As Callahan pushes forward, his investigation drags him into a tangled network of criminals, crooked deals, and shifting loyalties. Each encounter adds pressure, forcing him to question who holds power and who is quietly pulling the strings. Trust becomes a liability rather than a shield. The city closes in as threats grow louder and lines between law and lawlessness start to fade. Gunfire erupts without warning, conversations carry hidden intent, and every step forward risks crossing an unseen boundary. Survival depends on instinct more than justice. Haunted by what he's endured, Callahan operates on determination alone, refusing to slow down even as the stakes climb. Past choices resurface, and unfinished business demands attention, pushing him deeper into the conflict. Officer Down is a hard-edged crime thriller that thrives on tension and grit. Number 7. Frontera. Miguel Ramirez, a quiet and hardworking immigrant, finds his life thrown off course after a single crossing places him in the middle of a tragedy he didn't create. What starts as a desperate search for opportunity quickly turns into a tense struggle, where silence and suspicion follow his every step. Each moment pushes him deeper into a situation shaped by misunderstanding and fear. Across the border, former Sheriff Roy Tidwell is forced out of his familiar routine after a sudden loss shakes his sense of order. His path slowly intersects with Miguel's, not through justice, but through doubt, a collision of grief, prejudice, and buried truths waiting to surface. As their stories unfold, the line between guilt and innocence grows harder to define. Every character moves through a landscape ruled by harsh choices, where compassion is rare and assumptions carry dangerous consequences. Frontera unfolds as a grounded and quietly intense drama, using its stark setting to explore how quickly lives can change when borders, beliefs, and humanity collide, leaving behind questions that linger long after the final moment. Number 6. The Good Doctor. Dr. Martin Blake, a skilled yet overlooked medical resident, arrives at a new hospital, determined to prove his worth. Behind his calm manners and sharp focus lies a restless need for recognition, one that quietly shapes every decision he makes. When a young patient shows him rare admiration, his carefully maintained professionalism starts to bend under the pressure of being finally seen. As their connection deepens, Martin's judgment slips into dangerous territory. His desire to feel important pushes him toward choices that cross ethical lines, turning routine medical care into something far more personal and unsettling. The hospital corridors, once symbols of progress and control, become spaces filled with tension and unspoken risk. Complications rise when outside forces threaten to expose his actions, forcing Martin into a series of calculated moves to protect his reputation. The Good Doctor unfolds as a quiet psychological thriller that studies ambition, control, and moral decay. It builds unease through subtle shifts rather than spectacle, offering a chilling look at how insecurity can quietly steer someone toward irreversible decisions. Number 5. Deliver Us from Evil. After a string of disturbing incidents shakes the Bronx, NYPD officer Ralph Sarchi is pulled into cases that refuse to stay grounded in logic. Each crime carries a strange pattern, hinting at something darker than human cruelty. The streets he patrols daily start to feel hostile, as if the city itself is watching. Sarchi's steady worldview is challenged when his investigation crosses paths with Father Mendoza, a priest who operates outside official approval. Their alliance is uneasy, built on conflicting beliefs and constant doubt. One follows procedure, the other follows faith, and neither fully trusts the path ahead. As the case deepens, ordinary explanations fall apart. Sounds, symbols, and violent acts point toward an unseen influence that feeds on chaos. Sarchi is forced to confront the possibility that evil isn't always visible, and that ignoring it may come at a personal cost. The pressure doesn't stay on the streets. It seeps into his home, straining his sense of control and pushing him toward decisions he never thought he'd face. Deliver Us from Evil is a dark supernatural thriller that blends gritty police work with unsettling horror. It thrives on atmosphere and tension, exploring the thin line between faith and disbelief, and how close darkness can be when you refuse to acknowledge it. Number 4. The Blackcoat's Daughter. After being left behind at a quiet boarding school during winter break, 2 students find themselves surrounded by silence that feels wrong. The halls stretch on, empty and cold, while something unseen seems to linger just out of sight. Isolation settles in fast, turning routine moments into sources of unease. Elsewhere, a troubled young woman travels alone through snow-covered roads, guided by a purpose she barely explains. Her journey feels deliberate yet unsettling, as if every step is pulling her closer to something she cannot escape. Strangers offer help, but nothing about the path ahead feels safe. As these stories unfold, the atmosphere grows heavier. Faith, fear, and loneliness weave together, creating tension that never fully releases. Answers are withheld, replaced by quiet dread and images that stay lodged in the mind. The sense of danger doesn't come from sudden shocks, but from patience and mood. Every pause matters. Every sound feels intentional. The film trusts stillness to do the damage, letting discomfort build naturally. By the time the pieces connect, the impact is chilling rather than loud. The experience lingers, leaving questions behind instead of comfort, and reminding you that some darkness doesn't rush, it waits. The Blackcoat's Daughter is a haunting slow-burn thriller where isolation becomes a threat and belief can lead to terrifying places. Number 3. The Postcard Killings. Jacob Cannon's world shatters after a personal loss sends him far from home, pulling him into a relentless hunt across unfamiliar cities. Grief fuels his pursuit, but the deeper he travels, the more unsettling the trail becomes. Each stop reveals another carefully staged crime, marked by messages that feel both taunting and deliberate. The investigation soon links him with a sharp European journalist who has been tracking the same pattern. Their partnership is uneasy, built on shared urgency rather than comfort. Clues emerge through art references, cryptic symbols, and calculated timing, suggesting a killer who craves attention as much as control. As the case stretches across borders, exhaustion sets in. Authorities clash, leads collapse, and every discovery raises more questions than answers. Jacob's pursuit grows more personal with each passing day. His focus sharpens, his methods harden, and the line between duty and obsession starts to thin. Danger feels close, unpredictable, and impossible to map. The Postcard Killings is a cold, globe-trotting crime thriller that leans on atmosphere and persistence rather than spectacle. It offers a grim chase through Europe, where grief, vengeance, and calculation intersect, and where stopping the next crime becomes a race against time. Number 2. White Boy Rick. Rick Wersch Jr., a street-smart Detroit teenager, watches his everyday life spiral as he's pulled into a dangerous arrangement with federal agents during the city's turbulent 1980s era. What starts as small favors and whispered deals slowly drags him into a world far bigger than his age or experience, where power feels tempting and consequences stay hidden until it's too late. As Rick moves deeper into this double life, he's surrounded by adults playing games they don't fully explain. Law enforcement pressures him for access, while the streets test his loyalty and nerve. His father, caught between pride and concern, struggles to guide a son who's learning lessons from the wrong people at the wrong time. Trust is rare, and every promise feels temporary. Detroit itself becomes a constant presence, crumbling neighborhoods, easy money, and constant surveillance shaping Rick's choices. Survival depends on knowing when to speak, when to stay silent, and who might turn on him without warning. Each step forward narrows his options, turning confidence into risk. White Boy Rick is a gritty, unsettling crime drama rooted in true events, exposing how ambition, manipulation, and authority collide. Number 1. The Perfect Host. John Taylor, a smooth-talking fugitive with nerves stretched thin, is looking for nothing more than a safe place to disappear for the night. His plan seems simple until he steps into the elegant home of Warwick Wilson, a host whose polished manners and welcoming smile feel just a little too perfect. What should have been a brief stop quickly shifts into an uneasy situation where control starts slipping from unexpected hands. As the evening unfolds, Warwick's courteous behavior takes on a disturbing edge, turning small talk into a carefully staged performance. The balance of power keeps changing, leaving John unsure whether he's the one running the situation or walking straight into a trap. Their interaction isn't driven by trust, but by manipulation. A tense exchange of lies, charm, and hidden intent. The house itself becomes a tension-filled space, filled with awkward pauses, forced pleasantries, and sudden turns that keep the air thick with uncertainty. The perfect host plays like a twisted dinner invitation that refuses to end, using dark humor and sharp reversals to keep the viewer off balance. It's a tightly wound psychological thriller that proves menace doesn't need chaos to be effective. Sometimes it arrives dressed for dinner, smiling and insisting you stay a little longer. That's our list of the top 10 best thriller movies streaming now. Which one will you watch first? Comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more suspense-filled countdowns.